Hi there, I hope all is well. Welcome to Pearl, a world where modern day princesses can focus on class, sass, and strass. I'm coming to you live from outside today, actually. I wanted to film this bench that is next to kind of close to my house. It's just really pretty because I get to see all the streets, and so I kind of get some entertainment with all the cars going by, and then I also get to talk to you and be in the nature, and it is super, super fresh today, so I'm really happy to be coming live to you from California. But today's topic, I think, is going to be really interesting. And to kind of preface this, I know that this is a huge topic, and I honestly could be talking about this forever, I'm not going to lie. And that is about the one and only thing that pretty girls have over you. And so if you're a young girl right now listening, just know that it is genuinely possible for you to get to a place where you are not insecure anymore and you don't compare yourself to beautiful women anymore or feel inferior to them anymore. And I can actually personally attest to that. And it's honestly been such an interesting experience because I never thought I would get to this place. I think maybe in one or two of my videos I had mentioned that I was, if I were to be a saint, I would be considered, like, I would be the patron saint of insecurity, honestly. And that honestly has not, like, it's kind of, sorry to have like pause, I'm like getting distracted by everybody around me because there are also families walking. But um what I'm trying to say is, like, I am the farthest I could be from that now, and that's a very weird position to be in, where I could be placed in a room of models and there's zero inferiority or feeling of insecurity around these ladies. And in fact, I celebrate them and am so happy that, they get blessed in that way. I guess they're given the gift of beauty. But I just ask that you are open to what I'm about to say and try not to immediately disagree with what I'm about to say, because I might not exactly explain it well right now, if that makes sense, even though I think I will. But it's going to take a long time for this to sink in, because this did take a long time. I've been gone for 2 or 3 years and now I'm back. So, I matured and I grew a lot, and I'm also quite an observational person. And so this is something that I've just been picking up through watching behaviors, societies, families, couples, all that kind of stuff. So, what is this one thing that beautiful women or girls have, quote unquote, over you? That is that they can attract more men, and that is it. And I might be thinking, like, well, that's a lot. Like, that's a huge thing. Like, I want to be able to attract men. Well, like a lot of men. Well, here's the downside. They are not guaranteed to attract good men. They are not guaranteed to attract long-term minded men. They are not guaranteed to attract men who respect them, who see them as women and as people over just bodies and faces. And so you'll actually start to recognize that, at least in my opinion, there are a lot more disadvantages than advantages for pretty girls. And you can disagree with me, and you can think, about pretty privilege. I know that there's this huge trend and obsession with pretty privilege going on around the internet and, I guess society and schools and everything. And that's fine if you want to believe that. And to a certain extent, that is true, but I can't help but think that a lot of that is stemmed in insecurity. Okay, just seeing a beautiful face, feeling inferior next to it, and then just saying, "Oh, she gets everything and I get nothing." I think it's a little different than that, and I think you can broaden your perspective on this a little more. So, what do I mean by this? So, it's really hard, honestly, to explain. I think I'm going to do a relatively good job because I could talk about this forever, but okay, you know what? I'm going to talk about my personal experience and what I am kind of experiencing with this, which is kind of weird. So, when I started really gaining confidence in myself, and that confidence stemmed from really recognizing how blessed I am to be living life, and then to be living life in America, and then to be living life in California, and then to be living life in a family where my parents are happily married and deeply in love. And I come from such a happy, healthy household. I come from a household that prioritizes healthy eating, being healthy now. Like, I am blessed beyond imagine. And from that perspective, I'm like, and yet feeling insecure about my looks is going to trump and be the obsessive thought and trump all of that kind of stuff? I don't think so. Like, I think we need to step back. And if you want kind of like a little like uninvited tip, get off the internet. Okay, get off the internet. You need to like experience the real world. You need to be connecting with real people. Like, stop comparing yourself to people who literally don't exist. Nobody online exists. Okay, that's like at least how I view it. Like, nobody online exists. That is a screen of pixels and a collection of zeros and ones that a man years and decades ago created so that we can quote unquote feel more connected, and we're actually more isolated. And we all know this. We all know that social media is not good for us, and yet we're still on it. We know that, this overly consumed amount of the internet is not good for us, and yet we still do it. So that is just so unfortunate. But um anywho, going back to the topic, um, after you can get off the internet, I think you'll start to really experience the real world. And you will start to experience that being a genuine, kind hearted person is going to get you way farther in life than any looks can, honestly. And I can say this truthfully. How do I know this? Because I have never been the pretty girl, okay? I think I'm like, quote unquote, better now, but it's never been my aura to be the pretty girl that like was popular and like had all these things in high school and middle school and everything, and like the girl who all the guys sought to be with and stuff like that. I was never that girl. I was the super fun, trustworthy, like loyal, like doesn't care about anybody's opinion type of gal. And with this, I've kind of gained the sense of confidence outside of what I look like, which has been great. And so, unfortunately, for many beautiful girls, kind of their whole value in society is how they look. And so, I highly recommend stepping back, regardless of what kind of girl you are, stepping back, removing yourself from the internet so that we can really address this head on. Okay, now let's think about the Barbie girl. Okay, I spoke to my priest once, and this was when I was insecure and was kind of obsessed with the whole beauty standards and everything. And when I was in the world of beauty, and I came to him and I asked him, I said, God, like, why does God make certain girls insanely beautiful and then make other girls not? And then he was like, why are you asking this? And I said, well, because I'm so frustrated, because like there are all these girls who like they don't have to do anything in the world and they just kind of get everything because they're beautiful. And then there's like girls like me who, if I want to get anywhere, I have to really work hard and earn it. And I was like, that's so unfair. And he said, well, first off, you're not, unattractive. Like, he was saying, you're beautiful, like there's nothing to worry, like you're not like, because I kind of had this weird insecurity where I felt deformed. I went to therapy for it. It was really bad. Like, I'm telling you, the insecurities were deep in terms of beauty and standards and everything. But anywho, so after kind of like reassuring me that I'm beautiful and like, I'm okay and whatever, he was also like, do you know what goes on in the mind of a beautiful girl, like an objectively model, girl? And I was like, no, I've never even thought of that. They are he said, like, they are the most broken women in the world because they know that men are very attracted to them. And so they can't ever know if the man that quote unquote says they love that girl actually loves her. Okay. And I was like, whoa. So a girl will never know if a guy actually likes her for who she is versus how she looks. And that was actually really scary. And I thought about it and I was like, wait, I don't know if I really want to trade places with that. From the time you're a little girl, because usually these beautiful women are also very beautiful girls. Like, I remember being in school and there were the beautiful girls and they're still like those beautiful women, they just evolved. So anyway, so from the time they're little, they don't know if anybody likes them for who they truly are versus how they look. And I think that's honestly such a sad reality. And I personally would not trade that at all. Like, trade for that at all. Okay. And unfortunately, I can't help but think that if you would, that is stemming from insecurity. It always comes back to the weird world of being insecure versus being confident. Okay, so I need to like kind of get the confidence in you because everything revolves around being insecure versus confident. I realize that too. Kind of weird. Every decision you make, every person in your life, every value, every thought, whatever, all stems from whether you're insecure versus whether you're confident. Okay, now after recognizing this, we can see that we want to obviously be confident, okay? And Now, the question is, how do we be confident? Okay, so first, recognizing that it's actually quite a curse to be a beautiful woman, and deeply ask yourself, like, really internalize and say, would you trade that for that? Because, for example, you might be thinking, oh, if I was a beautiful woman, then I could like market things much better. Like, I could sell things, I would be a better business owner, I could be, um, I don't know, like more successful in life, like people would pick me. But again, would they be picking you because of the quality of who you are or just because you're hot? Like, honestly. And I would rather be a quality person. That's always been me. Like, I've always wanted to be, a stellar personality, super spunky, super happy, super joyful, people can really connect with. And so even if I had like a bag over my head, people would still listen to me because I really worked on my heart so that I could be a very like heart-led person rather than like a face or a body-led person. Okay. And so this is going to be a long time process. Okay. But genuinely, that is the only thing that girls have over you is that they can attract more guys. Okay. And I'm recognizing, okay, actually, at some point I was, okay, thoughts are everywhere. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, I could talk about this forever. At some point I was talking about like how I know this. Okay. Ever since I was little, I was not the super beautiful Barbie girl. Okay. But I was always, to this day, I don't know what it is, I have always been friends with Barbie girls. Okay. All of my friends since I was very little, like practically preschool, I think, best friends have always been Barbie girls. I don't know what it is. Like, I've never really been friends with like an average looking girl. Like, I have average looking friends, but like my best friends have always been super Barbie girls. And so I got the inside scoop of what that reality is like. And to this day, I 1000% can tell you I would not trade my experience for their experience. At least when it comes to boys, there is just so much bad going on there that it's kind of sad, honestly. Excuse me. And I don't really know if they recognize it or maybe deep down they do recognize it, but they can't really project because pretty girls can't really complain, unfortunately, in society because people won't take them seriously, which I think is so sad. Like, I'm the type of person where like I want the pretty girls to kind of like come to me and talk to me because I'm like, I get it and I'm not judging and I'm not here to like dismiss you just because you're pretty. But anywho, so, what were these experiences that these girls were getting? Number one is a lot of guys wanted to use them for their bodies, point blank, period. Okay. And if you want that, that's fine. Me, I could never. Like, I think I've mentioned this before, but I cannot with that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to like be too outward about it, but like for me, romance and true love and waiting for the right person is just like my top priority in life, honestly. I want a sweet, kind-hearted, good man with good values, good morals, but also a guy that I can have fun with and enjoy my time with and just whose company I adore and like we could just laugh forever. Like, that's my goal. But anyway, so with that, like, I just could not trade for the experience of pretty girls because most, if not all, honestly, like, again, I'm talking from experience and from observation, if not all, have experienced that at some point. A guy just totally used them for their body, for their status, whatever, and then dumped them and left them to the ground. And what an awful experience. And if you are an objectively pretty girl and you know it and you experience that, I am so sorry. Like, ugh, just know, like, this space, like Pearl World, is here for you. Okay, like, this is where the princesses can gather to like wipe each other's tears and like pat each other's backs and like pump each other's fists to like encourage you and inspire you. And so I'm here to like weep with those that are weeping if you've experienced that, because that is so hard. But anywho, excuse me. So I did not want to be used for my body. I did not want to possibly give a man status because of how hot I was, rather than maybe giving him status because of how smart I am, how fun I am, things like that. Um, and so being used for your body is not really a great experience. I don't even want to imagine it, honestly. And then men do not date these women, if you will, for long term. This is a very like early 20s, late 20s like experience, if that makes sense, where you're only as good as how hot you are. And again, not an experience I want to experience. Okay, I know I said experience like 20 times. And I tend to do that, by the way. I tend to like hone in on one word and then repeat it forever. So whatevs. But yeah, they I hate to say wifed up because that's like so cringe and so like ew, like basement boy vocabulary, like vernacular, and I'm not about that. But like, it's true though. Like, I see that like after a certain age, if you will, or after a certain look, they're just not taken as seriously, and men dump them, and that is so sad, and I hate that. But again, we're going back to that one thing that they can do so they can attract long-term partners. They can't, or they might be able to, but usually a lot of pretty women are divorced, and it's a whole thing. So again, I can go into that another time. But so men are not taking them seriously for long-term reasons. And then what else? Well, men don't take them seriously, period. You could be the most intelligent woman ever and, great personality, whatever, but because you're hot, like that's always the thing to describe you. Men are lusting over you, men are talking about you in that certain way, and I just couldn't. Even if, let's say, you're more, like conservative in the way that you dress, or like, I don't want to say modest, because I'm going to do a whole video and like episode on modesty, because ugh, I like believe in modesty and I still do, don't get me wrong, but like people take it to such an extreme and are so weird about it. It's so cringe. So we'll talk about that another time. But even for girls who are dressing quite respectable, should I say, they are still at the end of the day only known for being hot. So I don't really know what more they have over me. Like, why would I feel inferior and compare myself to that sad of an existence? Okay. And I'm not saying like all, hot, beautiful girls are, having an awful life. Like, I'm sure some of them are, doing well, going to school, bettering themselves, learning skills, like not letting men take advantage of them and stuff. But they are also extremely insecure about the fact that they're beautiful. Because again, at the end of the day, they don't know if anybody's choosing them for who they are versus how they look like. Okay. And so really start to think about this. Like, what really, because you're like, no, it's not just one thing, it's a bunch of things, they can do this and that and that. Okay, really break that down, really think about it in depth, okay? And ask yourself if you really would want that, honestly. And that's what I started doing, okay? And also, for these women, there is such a pressure to upkeep that. And honestly, when you get older, you just don't have that anymore, and that's okay. And like, I'm not saying that to judge. Like a 50-year-old woman, I don't actually think is ugly, but like she doesn't have that lusted after look anymore. And so she feels like, because it's so ingrained in her from being a little girl, that she has to be beautiful and like that's where her value and worth comes from, then they start to do like such damaging things to their bodies and faces at such young ages. Like 50 is young, like 30 is young. And how do I know this? Because I go to actually a really nice gym, I'm not gonna lie, and it's the equivalent of Equinox, I'll say that. And so the women that go there are just absolutely beautiful. Okay, like drop dead, gorgeous, beautiful. And when I was insecure, before I had all these epiphanies and like, matured a lot, I was like, oh my gosh, these women are like, I am so ugly compared to them. Like, I am nothing. Like, I'm a loser compared to these women. And then, I started gaining confidence and stuff. And now I'm going back and like, I'm still at this gym, and still same women, like beautiful women are constantly coming in, popping in. And I'm just like, I don't really, oh, actually those were my parents like driving by. Oh my gosh, the engine is so loud. I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry. But anyway, these women are still so objectively beautiful, and I applaud them. Now I like really support them, and I think I'm like, yay, like good for you. Like, not just for like being pretty, but like supporting women in general. But anyway, so these women at the gym get so much work done at such a young age. Like, they are 30 and 40 doing unbelievable things to their faces. I feel so sad and like, like I don't even know how to describe it, but the actual like grief I feel for these women because of the things that they did to their body. And I know they didn't mean for the outcome to look like that, but there are just so many women who went under the knife and like they went for plastic surgery, and it just like I'm not trying to be mean and judge in this way, but it backfired. Like, it did not come out, I'm sure, the way that they wanted to. And so now they look permanently like this, like almost like non-woman. Like, oh gosh, I feel so bad. Like, the reason why I'm like pausing is because I'm thinking of this one woman in specific that I see at the gym all the time, and you can tell now she's so insecure because of how she looks, because of how bad they did on her face. And it's so sad because I'm sure she was fine, like she's so fit and everything, but her face just got so peeled back, and I don't even know how to describe it. And honestly, I don't want to describe it. Like, that's not nice. Like, poor woman, like she's a victim of that. But anyway, I'm just like, we do not have to go under the knife. Do not let men's weird, lustful like ideologies influence you to do unspeakable things to your body. Like if we actually think about it, like we've normalized plastic surgery so much, it's unbelievable. But if we think about it, why would we put ourselves through such pain and possible like permanent disfiguration for a man? What man is worth that? Honestly, a rich man? Okay, then make your own money. Like be ambitious yourself. Like work on yourself enough that you don't need that, you know? One sec. Okay, I'm sorry. My throat is starting to get dry, so I might have to end this soon. But no man is worth that. And in the palace of Pearl, we are here to strive for good hearted men. Not like lustful, playboy, player, you know, not permanent, not long term men. We are here for the good, wholesome, really sweet, caring, generous, charitable, hopefully Catholic, but if you're another faith, whatever. Men who are going to take care of you, who are there to be with you long term, who are there to support you and who you are, don't judge you, you know, like they really accept you for who you are. You don't have to put on this mask or this facade for them. Like those are the kinds of men that like we're promoting on this channel, okay? And I know a bunch. And honestly, maybe that's like a reason why I don't really have a lot of beauty insecurities, because I have so many good men in my life who love me for who I am, who support me for who I am, who are impressed for who I am, that I'm like, beauty literally doesn't exist in my world. Like, I'm not the most beautiful woman, and yet all these men around me love me, cherish me, protect me. And I'm not even saying like romantic men. Like, this is my dad, like, this is my brother, these are my uncles, these are my guy friends, these are the boyfriends of my girlfriends. Everywhere I go, I just kind of notice like I do naturally attract really good guys. So I'm really happy and like blessed about that. But I want that to be a reality too, and it can be. I want you to remove yourself from the world of beauty, from the honestly the world of society. Like it's kind of weird. I feel like mentally I'm off the grid. Like I'm not in the same headspace as everybody else anymore. And it honestly feels like the most freeing experience where I can really focus on my passions, my hobbies, my friends, my family, and like boys and those expectations to be hot are like not even, they can't even come into my bubble. Like honestly, like they're like try. Like I honestly, I can't help but keep like asking myself this where I'm like, okay, you could judge me for maybe not being the prettiest girl ever, but you can't judge me for not being a really smart young lady with strategy. You can't say that I'm reckless with my money. You cannot judge me for, you know, not being a good friend, for not being a good daughter. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. We'll see what my parents say about that, but all these kinds of things. So those are the kinds of things I think we need to prioritize, and I will be prioritizing in this world, okay, in this world of Pearl that I'm creating, because I don't see it out there, and we need this space where we support good women, good men who just want happy, long-term, healthy partnerships. And sorry, I had to like look behind me because there was this weird shuffling that like wouldn't stop, and I was like, what the heck? Because like all the people before were like shuffling for like 2 seconds and then it was gone, and then the shuffling wasn't. So I was like, is it a squirrel who's like gonna attack me? But no, it's just older lady taking her time. But anywho, um what was I saying? So I'm promoting that on this channel, and at the end of the day, pretty women don't have anything on you if you are so heart solid. If you have the heart of gold, you will go farther than them. Because, yeah, maybe they'll go so far, quote unquote, so far in their 20s and 30s, materialistically and like status wise. But call me when they're 40 and let's see, did they have like a really good husband who loves them, and not what they look like? Are they already divorced? Do their kids not like them? Like, what's her personality? Like, usually these women, because they don't have to like develop anything, because being hot in society apparently is like the be all end all, they usually are not like I don't want to like shred on them because I don't care, but you know, maybe a little more bland, less spunky, less, I don't know, like they're just, yeah, I would say bland. And I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, but it's true. And so at 40, if you're maybe not your 20-year-old youthful self with a bland personality and no skills because you didn't feel like you needed to develop it, I don't really know how that's going to look. And I don't know if that's really the reality that maybe an average girl wants. So it might seem, all I'm trying to say is that it might seem like being a beautiful girl is like this most glamorous thing ever. And yes, it might be for a time period, but I am a very long term striving girl, and I hope you are too, where we are striving to be the best women that we could possibly be. Because if our vocation is motherhood and wifehood, is that even a word, wifelyhood, I don't know, um those, like, the heart is the most important thing, and we're going to attract husbands who also have that heart thing going on. And so it's just going to be this amazing experience where you kind of have like the quote unquote rich hot life. You know how many people in their 50s like look at their other peers who have these simple cute sweet families, and everybody low-key wants that? Like, strive for that, okay? So I get that the hot, young, flashy, like, look is flashy and it's there to make you feel jealous, but don't buy into it. If you bought into it, then their marketing, you're just affirming that their marketing was really good, okay? Like, these hot girls are doing a good job marketing. And honestly, that's why a lot of them do go into marketing and sales. But anywho, all of this is to say, again, that is the only thing they have over you, is that they can attract more guys. They can get more guys to their door, but that doesn't mean anything, okay? I know this because I don't have that ability, okay? Like, I don't have like a lineup, but the men in my life are so amazing. It's not even funny. Again, I'm not even talking romantic. I'm not even going to talk about romantic personally, because I don't want, anyway. Um, so let's strive to understand that the one thing that beautiful women have over us regular degulars is that they can attract more men and bring more men to their doorstep. Okay, that's it. Don't think deeper. Don't think there's another step. That's it. Okay, so then what can we do once we really internalize that is focus on being the best heart wise, okay? Focus on being a quality woman. That means being joyful, that means having hobbies, having skills, being different, being unique, having this abundance in yourself so that people can just be blown away at your heart. Okay? So strive to be a quality person, because like attracts like. If you are a good, maybe average simpleton, whatever, but you have a heart of gold, you will be attracting likewise. Okay. And that is amazing. And that's what you want. You want a good man who has all these things going for them. Like, let's do an example, honestly. I know I'm talking a lot now and you can like click off now, but let us pretend that we were given the model face bod experience, whatever. Okay. And then you have guys lining up at your door. And so you kind of can pick whoever you want. So because these girls are also not really working on themselves internally and their heart, they're probably also going to go for superficial men, because like attracts like. So if these men are going for these girls for superficiality reasons, these women are probably also going to do the same because this guy's also hot and rich and whatever. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so you get the hot guy. He does not respect you. You don't have fun. You don't have really, truly any chemistry. You don't really know how to raise kids together because you don't know what the heck you're doing, because this guy only brings you status in that one way, like doesn't bring you status in any other way. And honestly, forget that. Yeah, okay. So, like, that's what you want. You just want like a life where you are obsessed with your beauty, and like time is of the essence for you and the clock is ticking, because that's all you have. And obviously nobody can maintain a 20-year-old face at 50 and 60, which is okay. Like, I am okay with that, but apparently men aren't. So you're just going to be living in, let's say, a huge house. Fine, you're hot or whatever, you're gorgeous, with another hot guy, I guess, but who doesn't love you, who doesn't respect you. You're gonna feel hollow. You're gonna feel like your body's being used. You don't know what true love is. Then you don't know what a long term, like, cemented, like, committed relationship is gonna feel like. Because again, time is of the essence, and so I'm sure these women are so paranoid that these men are gonna leave them once they stop looking a certain way. So that's what I'm saying, is like, think of it on the flip side. Like, literally imagine being that. And I started doing that. I was like, ugh, no. So I would much rather have like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, like 2 or 3 guys that come to my door that are amazing. They are athletic. And I don't just mean that for like bod wise, but like, I love a guy who has those kinds of hobbies, like outdoorsy hobbies, because then they can bring me outdoors and like we can do fun athletic things together. So a guy who's athletic, who is nerdy about some things. Maybe he's into books, maybe he's into chess or whatever. And then you can really start to bond over that. And you guys will never then be bored, and you will always be enriching each other. So strive for that. Don't strive for the superficiality. It's not going to get you anywhere. I'm telling you, I've never had that superficiality experience. Honestly, thank God. Like I used to be so mad at God for not giving me that. And now I'm like, that was the biggest blessing ever. So as somebody who hasn't had that superficiality experience, my life has been the most abundant I could possibly ask for. I have everything I could possibly want. I have amazing friends, an amazing family, an amazing education, amazing hobbies. I love my hobbies. I'm just in my own little world. And I've recognized that the little world that I was in has just been Pearl this whole time. But now I'm like expanding it to you guys. And I really hope that you can like join my space, because it is so peaceful. It is so nice. It is so enriching. I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just constantly developing so much, and I love it. It feels so good. I feel so smart, honestly. Like that's a big thing in my family, is like the women being intelligent, and not just like nerdy, like I'm smarter than others, but like I love being in a world where I can like really learn. Like it's centered around learning. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap up soon. But in short, to recap all of it, there's one thing, yes, that pretty girls have over you, but is it really something that matters? And then what can we learn from this? Why don't we grow as quality, not superficial, amazing young ladies, okay? It's all about class, okay? And just because you're hot doesn't mean you have class. In class, you cannot buy class, okay? That is something that really has to come from within. And so you can maybe buy a hot face and a hot bod by, gym memberships and plastic surgery or whatever, even though we talked about that there's no real guarantee. But class, that aura of class and sophistication and elegance and being educated. Did I already say educated? I think I did. But whatever. There's never enough education. It's just so important. You will feel really whole and full. And, having all that wrapped in with faith and with God and the kind of woman that he wants, like really study what a Proverbs 31 woman is. It is not being a hot woman, okay? It's actually being like a very entrepreneurial woman. It is being a very smart woman, a very delicate, sweet woman, okay? So please strive for that. I think we need to kind of get all the women back on board with that vision. But anywho, I am so thankful that you listened. Thank you so much for listening. If you did all the way to the end, I'm wishing you a blessed day. Praying for you. God bless. Bye.